One of the biggest things in the fitness space and maybe even in life is that things should happen in a certain period of time. And while it's good to have deadlines and goals, it's also kind of counterproductive to think that like adaptation is going to occur for you in a certain amount of time. You know, you see this often with like people marketing around getting results as fast as possible. And it's not bad, but like you don't always want really fast results. Like the people on The Biggest Loser were getting really fast results, and then they would go home and things would often go back to where they were from a weight loss standpoint, and where they were, it would be even worse because they would like crush themselves and then go back to their normal environment, and they wouldn't have learned anything. They wouldn't have learned how to sustain their lifestyle or sustain the habits and do the thing without the external support, right? So the same thing occurs when people train in a way that's like they can go really hard for a relatively short period of time, but then they start getting moans and groans and they start getting injuries, they start getting burnt out. And in reality, most of the stuff is just stuff that we should do because it's going to keep us alive longer. It's going to keep us healthy and moving and capable. And the time frames don't often matter that much. It's a learning process. And yes, you should push yourself on a regular basis. And yes, you should set goals oriented around time frames. But most things just take what they take. And individuals like you are different than me. You could have a really good response to certain things that I might not have a great response to, and vice versa. I built up such a high tolerance for cardiovascular activity when I was a kid that I can get back into running relatively easily. Whereas like strength stuff comes a little bit slower to me, and I should probably even just manage that narrative for myself too. But the goal of most of this stuff is just to become a stronger, more capable, and more confident human. And you showing up consistently for a long period of time is what is going to bode well. The final thing I'll say is like, just to use like a business example, is like when I stopped worrying about like how long things would take and I just started to embrace the process, a lot of things just started to go well. I stopped putting these external pressures on myself to get to a certain level at a certain point in time, and most of the things I just focused on were process oriented, and I was getting the results that would ultimately keep me moving forward in business. So take off these, time oriented mentalities. I think it was a guy who was going back to medical school in his 50s, and he said, time's going to pass anyway. I might as well be trying to do something that I've wanted to do my whole life. And that's the way most of the stuff is. Time's going to pass. Are you figuring out what you want to do, and are you pursuing it? That's all I got for today. Peace.